A family dinner, it's supposed to be this safe space, right? There's this unspoken contract of support. But what happens when someone just rips that contract up? We're about to dive into a story where one single sentence completely unravels a family and kicks off a quiet but devastating war. Just try to imagine hearing this from your own family. Nobody needs your money or you. Wow, that's the line. That's the match that lights the fuse for this whole story. And it's not just some throwaway insult. It's a full-on declaration of war. It sets off this chain reaction that, believe me, nobody at that table saw coming. Okay, so to really get why those words hit so hard, we've got to go back a bit. Let's talk about Kimberly. She's a super successful software engineer. But for years, she's also been this silent, invisible bank for her family back in their small hometown, Franklin. She was their safety net, and they didn't even have to ask. So Kimberly's whole life path, really, was built on this one promise she made as a kid. She swore she'd protect her younger sister, Madison, from the money problems they always had growing up. And that promise, it was evergreen, everything. It's what drove her to get that scholarship, to land a big-time tech job in San Francisco, and then for years to just quietly send money home. She was basically trying to fix their entire world, all from a distance. And look, we're not talking about a few bucks for groceries here. This was major life-changing money. We're talking big home repairs her dad couldn't handle, the startup cash for her sister's dream boutique, Thread and Willow, and heck, even an SUV to run the business. Kimberly basically became the family's 911 for any money problem. It was unspoken at first, but it quickly became an expectation. But you know how these things can go. Over time, something really toxic started to happen. The whole vibe shifted. What started as help, just pure love, started to feel, well, different. That gratitude, it curdled into resentment. Her support wasn't a gift anymore. In their eyes, it was charity, and they hated it. The whole foundation of what she was doing just started to crumble. So all of this tension is just simmering right below the surface, and it is about to boil over in a huge way, which brings us right back to that dinner, the breaking point. So Kimberly walks in, and you can just feel it, right? The air is so thick with tension, you could cut it with a knife. The answers to her questions are short, clipped. Every nice thing they say feels like it has a little jab hidden inside. It's like they'd already decided she was guilty of something before she even pulled up a chair. And then boom, the first punch lands. Her dad literally puts his fork down, looks at her, and says it. Her mom chimes in right away like they'd rehearsed it. The words are just so cold. We don't need your money, Kimberly, or you. I mean, that is a total, absolute rejection. And just in case that wasn't clear enough, her sister Madison, yep, the one she promised to protect all those years ago, she delivers the final knockout punch. She's right. Nobody needs you money or you. This isn't just her piling on. This is them showing her, we are a team and you are not on it. Now this is the moment everything changes. Kimberly doesn't scream. She doesn't argue. She doesn't even cry. She just goes silent. It's this heavy, deafening silence. And then she gets up and she walks out. And make no mistake, this is not her giving up. Oh no, this is the exact moment she realizes the game is over, and she's about to start a brand new one with a whole new set of rules. And that feeling of being hurt, it doesn't last long. It morphs into something way more powerful, a plan. And what kicks off this whole new phase is something she finds on social media that, well, it just changes the entire game. So she gets back to her hotel and she's scrolling and she lands on her sister's Instagram. And what she sees is just wild. Madison is spinning this whole story about being a hashtag self-made boss who built this empire from nothing. The reality? The boutique, the fancy SUV she's posing with, her whole public persona. It was all bankrolled by Kimberly, and that's when the light bulb goes off for Kimberly. This isn't just about them pushing her away anymore. This is worse. They are actively erasing her from their history, wiping her contributions from the record like she never existed. And that pain, it just crystallizes into this cold, clear plan. So what does she do? Her response is so clean, so precise, it's not emotional, it's tactical. Step 1, she calls the dealership to have them pick up the SUV. Why? Because it's still in her name. Step 2, she sends a quick email to the bank to stop making payments on that cosign loan for the boutique, which means Madison is now on the hook for all of it. See, she's not trying to ruin them. She's just taking away the safety net they literally just told her they didn't need. Now you can't make moves like this in a vacuum, right? Especially not in a small town where everybody knows everybody. The consequences hit fast and hard, and it all leads to one final, very public showdown. And the fallout is almost instantaneous. One day the SUV is there, the next it's gone. The bank starts calling Madison about late payments, and in a town like Franklin, gossip spreads like wildfire. Suddenly, that whole self-made success story starts to look a little shaky, and people are starting to whisper, "Hey, where did all that money come from?" So Kimberly decides she needs one last conversation. Foreclosure. She heads over to the boutique. She walks in, and Madison is just a mess, totally panicking. The second she sees Kimberly, she just screams, "You did this. You ruined my life." But Kimberly's reply is just perfect. It completely flips the script. She's super calm and she just says, "I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped being the glue." It's so powerful, right? She's not the bad guy here. She was the invisible foundation holding the whole thing up, and she just stopped. And Madison's response says everything you need to know about the real problem. It shows a total lack of awareness. She just asks, "Why couldn't you just keep helping?" Think about that question. It's pure entitlement. It shows that she truly believed her sister's money and support were just this endless resource that she was somehow owed. And this is where Kimberly brings it all full circle, right back to that dinner table with one last sentence. She says, "Because you told me nobody needed me, and I finally believed you." Oof. It's brilliant. She just took them at their word. They said they didn't need her, so she acted like it. So after a nuclear bomb like that goes off in a family, what's left? Well, for Kimberly, the aftermath isn't really about getting even. It's about something much bigger. It's about freedom and a huge lesson she had to learn the hard way. And this is really the core lesson of the whole story. Kimberly figures out that boundaries, they aren't about building walls to keep people out. They're more like doors. And you get to decide which doors you close, especially the ones that are just draining all your energy. It's all about taking back control of your own life. So she heads back to her life in San Francisco and doesn't look back. The angry voicemails from her parents? Ignored. She chooses her own peace of mind over their drama. And she finds this new kind of quiet in her life, a life that isn't measured by how much she can give away to people who don't appreciate it. She's just focused on her work, her real friends, relationships that actually give back. When you get down to it, Kimberly's family couldn't see her value beyond her bank account. And by walking away, she made a powerful choice. She decided they didn't get to define her worth anymore. So that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about, right? Should you let your worth be decided by people who can't even see it in the first place?